Good morning, dear students. As a part of DNA viruses, we completed the smallest one, parvovirus, followed by papavirus, followed by adenovirus, followed by smallpox, that is pox virus. Now we are going to see the most important viruses that we acquire regularly in our lifetime, or we see the infections of this herpes virus either in our friends or in our family. So the herpes group is a big group containing number of viruses. We will do or we will study one by one. Till now, what we have seen, the parvovirus, papavirus, adenovirus, they are non-enveloped, naked, ixohedral virus. But we have seen the pox virus is enveloped virus, but complex symmetry. But herpes virus is also an enveloped virus with ixohedral symmetry. So the symmetry is ixohedron. Inside the envelope, below the envelope, you have the ixohedron, which contains the DNA. It establishes latent infection and reactivates periodically. Establishes latent infection and reactivates periodically. That means, without your knowledge, the infection will subside, but it is present inside the body in a hidden way and reacts periodically depending on the conditions, weather conditions or your body conditions or your immunity conditions and all. So, latent infection అంటే ఏంటి, దొంగలాగా అన్నమాట. దొంగలాగా నక్కి మన బాడీలో ఉంటుంది. But it comes on and off outside, shows the infection by certain agents. What are those agents? We will see later. The capsid, the outer cover of the DNA, is a protein layer with double-stranded DNA inside. Envelope is a host nuclear membrane as they replicate in the nucleus. I told you, or in the general virology, you might have learned, when a virus is budding out after the growth in a host, the enveloped viruses bring their envelope from the host. If it is replicating in the nucleus, the membrane or the nuclear membrane will come as an envelope of those viruses. If it is in the cytoplasm, the cytoplasmic membrane will come. So here, the host nuclear membrane will come as an envelope. So the properties of all hosts will be seen in the envelope. Size is 200 nanometers with envelope. And the capsid is 100 nanometers. The size of the capsid is 100 nanometers. Envelope carries surface spikes of 8 nanometers length. This you can see. This is a capsid, 100 nanometers in size, whereas this is the double layered envelope with spikes, antigenic spikes. This is 200 nanometers in size. The family herpes viridae is divided into 3 subfamilies: alpha herpes virus, beta herpes virus, and gamma herpes virus. So when we are studying, we are going to study the different members of this family as HSV as herpes simplex virus, VZV varicella zoster virus. These two belongs to alpha viridae, and cytomegalovirus belongs to beta viridae, and gamma herpes virus comes to Epstein-Barr virus. చెప్పమ్మా, నేను క్లాస్లో ఉన్న, తొందరగా చెప్పు. ఏంటమ్మా? స్టూల్స్ ప్రొద్దమ్మా, ముందు నువ్వు అది ఫోటో తీయడానికి స్టూల్స్ కట్ట అక్కర్లేదు. ఆ తర్వాత అమ్మా అవన్నీ ఎక్విప్మెంట్లు, కుర్చీలు, చైర్స్ ఇప్పుడు మనకి ఫోటో తీయడానికి అతను వచ్చాడు, అది వస్తుంది నీ దగ్గరికి. సో ఒకదానికి మాత్రం RT-PCR మిషన్కే మానిటర్ ఉండాలంట. ఆ మానిటర్ ఒకటి పనిచేయని మానిటర్ పంపిస్తాను పక్కన పెట్టడానికి. మామూలు న్యూక్లిక్ యాసిడ్ ఎక్స్ట్రాక్టర్ మామూలు దానికి మానిటర్ అక్కర్లేదంట, మామూలుగా దాని మీద పెట్టిస్తాం. సో ఎక్కడ పెడుతున్నావు మిషన్, కరెక్ట్ గా ఆ మిషన్ దగ్గర గోడ మీద అదే అంటించాలమ్మా. అది నాకు 11:10 వరకు క్లాసు, సారీ 12:10 వరకు. Sorry, there is an urgent call. I have to speak. Now, coming to the different members of the human herpes viruses causing infection in humans. The first one is human herpes virus type 1, otherwise commonly called as herpes simplex virus type 1. Short name is HSV1. The second one is human herpes virus type 2, herpes simplex virus type 2, or otherwise HSV2. The third one is human herpes virus type 3, varicella zoster virus, otherwise called VZ virus. The fourth one is human herpes virus type 4, the Epstein-Barr virus or EB virus. Human herpes virus type 5, cytomegalovirus or CMV. But the human herpes viruses 6, 7, 8, they are recently come into existence. They have no short names, but the common names are the type 6 human B-cell lymphotrophic virus, type 7 is archavirus, type 8 is Kaposi sarcoma associated herpes viruses that is commonly seen in HIV infected people. Kaposi sarcoma is a common cancer in HIV that is called Kaposi sarcoma, is due to human herpes virus type 8. So this table you are supposed to by heart or you have to remember. So the official name, common name or short name, these are all important short notes in the exam, and sometimes they simply give human herpes virus type 4. You should not confuse. You have to remember that is nothing but Epstein-Barr virus or EB virus. Sometimes simply they may say, write a short account on EBV. You have to say Epstein-Barr virus, which is officially called as human herpes type 4. Then you have to write about that virus. Now the first group, herpes viruses, herpes simplex type 1 or HHV1, herpes simplex type 2 or HHV2. These are the commonest infections that we will see in our lifetime. You might have also experienced the herpes simplex virus infection. The simple example is, suppose you happen to get high temperature. After subsidence of the site temperature, within 2 or 3 days, you will find some small ulcers at the corners of your lips or your mouth. That is due to herpes simplex type 1. Or sometimes you are exposed to too much cold. Then also the herpes simplex type 1 infection will be seen as ulcers on the corners of the mouth. In the herpes simplex virus, we have two types, HSV1 and HSV2. Generally, infections above the waist are produced by herpes simplex virus type 1 and below by herpes simplex virus type 2. Waist ante nadu paina vachina infectionlанни herpes simplex virus type 1 valla kinda vachevanni kuda herpes simplex virus type 2 valla. But this is not a common rule. Sometimes occasionally the two may be seen above the waist or one may be seen below the waist. But general rules are like this: above the waist, below the waist. Nadum paina, nadum kindana. HSV1 causes usually isolated lesions in and around the mouth and is transmitted by direct contact or droplet spread from cases or carriers. HSV2 causes genital infections transmitted venereally. So HSV2 infections below the waist annam kada, avanni kuda sexually transmitted diseases. Sexually transmitted diseases like HIV or syphilis or gonorrhea. Herpes simplex type 2 also genitally transferred or sexually transferred. What is the pathogenesis? How the virus enters? The primary infection occurs through broken skin or mucous membranes. HSV1 spread by respiratory droplets or contact with infected saliva. That is what we are seeing now in COVID-19 or coronavirus. HSV2 usually transmitted by genital route, that is sexually transmitted. Viral replication occurs at the site of infection. You will see at the site of infection a vesicle formation, because we have seen what is macula, papula, vesicle, all these things. So immediately you will see a vesicle formation without seeing the macula and papula. Usually heal without residual scarring. Like smallpox, they won't leave any scar. ఇప్పుడు మీకు చెప్పాను, ఈ మౌత్ దగ్గర ఈ యాంగిల్స్ దగ్గర మీకు అప్పుడప్పుడు అల్సర్స్ లా ఫార్మ్ అవుతాయి. దట్ ఈస్ డ్యూ టు హెర్పes simplex type 1. After 3 days or 4 days they will subside without leaving any residual scarring. Through nerve endings, virus is transported by retrograde axonal flow to dorsal root ganglia, where further replication occurs and latency is established. Now, in the dorsal root ganglia, sacral ganglia gani, trigeminal ganglia gani, ikkada they will hide in the latent form. So, if there is some changes in the atmosphere or our routine immunity, from this dorsal root ganglia, they will come out from the nerves to the outside, shows the infection on the skin. HSV1 infection leads to latent infection in the trigeminal ganglia, just now I told you. Whereas HSV2 infection leads to latent infection in the sacral ganglia. Sacral ganglia. Now, what are the infections by herpes simplex type 1 and what are the infections by herpes simplex type 2? So, you will see by one encephalitis, conjunctivitis, gingivostomatitis, tonsillitis or labialis, pharyngitis, esophagitis, herpes gladiatorum and tracheobronchitis, genital herpes and herpes whitlow. Whereas herpes simplex virus type 2, you have meningitis, gingivostomatitis, tonsillitis labialis, pharyngitis, perianal herpes, genital herpes, herpes whitlow. These two are commonly important here, below the waist. These are all above the waist. Sometimes I told you, no, this is not a rule. This herpes simplex virus type 2 also causes meningitis, gingivostomatitis, tonsillitis, and labialis. What are the infections by this herpes simplex virus? Cutaneous infections, you will find fever blisters or herpes febrilis. That is what I told. Seen ulcers in the mouth of the corner. Those are called fever blisters. Occupational cutaneous herpes called herpetic whitlow, seen in doctors, dentists, and nurses, where they will handling the patients of herpes infection. In case of nurses and dentists, when they are treating orally without proper gloves, or the doctors treating the patient, and sometimes the forensic specialists or the pathologists or the anatomy teachers, when they are touching the cadavers, they may get this infection shown as occupational cutaneous herpes infections, or otherwise called herpetic whitlow. We will see what is this herpetic whitlow. Now, these are cutaneous infections. Now, mucosal infections, you will see in buccal mucosa. Generally, buccal mucosa in the mouth are commonly affected. Gingivostomatitis, that is infection of the mouth as well as gingiva of the teeth. Pharyngitis, recurrent herpes labialis, recurrently on the lips, you will find these herpetic infections as small vesicles. Coming to ophthalmic, acute keratoconjunctivitis, follicular conjunctivitis, dendritic corneal ulcers leads to blindness, and occasionally chorioretinitis and necrotizing retinitis, which leads to blindness. Necrotic retinitis leads to blindness. In the nervous system, you have encephalitis, occasionally transverse myelitis or Guillain-Barré syndrome, and Bell's palsy. Visceral herpes infections, you have esophagitis leads to dysphagia, sternal pain, weight loss, tracheobronchitis, pneumonitis, rarely hepatitis. Disseminated herpes simplex virus is also seen due to immunodeficiency, mainly in HIV patients. Sometimes the malnutrition and burns may also lead disseminated herpes simplex virus infection. Coming to genital, men, you will find lesions on the penis, urethra leading to urethritis. Women, lesions on the vulva, vagina, and cervix, and sometimes the perineum. And rectal and perineal lesions in homosexuals, because it is sexually transmitted, type 2. And HSV2 is implicated in the carcinoma of the cervix. A question mark. We will see why there is a question mark. We will see later. Congenital. This is very important. Congenital is an important short note in the exam. Transplacental transmission with herpes simplex virus leads to congenital malformations. Neonatal herpes has got high mortality, and if survives, have neurological impairment. Suppose this virus will transmit it from mother to child, leading to congenital malformations, So if the baby born with these malformations, mortality is high. Even if survives, at some time they will have neurological impairment. So you remember Torches complex causes congenital malformations. Torches complex causing congenital formations. What are these Torches complex? Torch ante torchlight. A torchlight జ్ఞాపకం ఉంచుకోవాలి. ప్లూరల్ టార్చెస్ అన్నమాట. ఒక 5 టార్చ్ లైట్లు పట్టుకొని మీరు టార్చెస్ అన్నారనుకోండి. TO indicates Toxoplasma gondii, a parasite. R indicates rubella, a virus. C indicates cytomegalovirus. That is what we are going to discuss now. It is in the herpes group. And HE is herpes virus, what we are talking presently. And S indicates syphilis by Treponema pallidum. These all 5 causes congenital malformations. They like or they replicate in healthy dividing cells. Healthy dividing cells causing congenital formation. Suppose a aorta is forming during the fetus present in the uterus due to the congenital spread. These Toxoplasma gondii or rubella or cytomegalovirus or herpes virus or Treponema pallidum will like to replicate in those actively growing cells leading to the formation of aorta. So the cells will die. There is no healthy formation of aorta. There is malformation. There is a stricture or sometimes there is an enlargement. You can see different diagrams. This is herpes labialis. Herpes labialis. This is herpes labialis. And this is herpes labialis and also glossitis. Totally oral herpes, oral herpes, oral herpes. You can see herpes gingivitis. These are the gingiva. Gingivitis. The gingiva become red and sometimes they are bleeding. And glossitis, the inflammation of the tongue. These are the herpes vesicles all around the mouth. And herpetic whitlow, that what I spoke, that is seen in the nurses, doctors and dentists. You see the herpetic whitlow. This is the herpetic whitlow. This is herpetic keratitis. The cornea will have the corneal ulcer. This is a fluorescent dye. If you suspect any ulcer, you will put fluorescent dye in the eye. After some time, if you wash the excess fluid, the shining dye will be seen as in the ulcer. This is herpetic keratoconjunctivitis. The whole skin is involved by herpes as well as the eye. And this is Bell's palsy. One side the facial nerve is paralyzed. And generalized herpes in a child having immunodeficiency. And this is also a generalized herpes. A generalized herpes. Genital herpes seen on the vulva, on the vagina, and vulva, vagina, both vulva and vagina, vulva and vagina. And in the males, the penis, infection of the profuse of the penis, on the opening of the penis, at the urethral opening, and at the perineal region, that is commonly seen in homosexuals. This is on the skin of the penis. The skin of the penis. You can see the Hughes ulcer. Now, what is the laboratory diagnosis? Now, so many times I told you in microbiology, the laboratory diagnosis is mainly two types: direct evidence and indirect evidence. Direct evidence, you should always show the organism or the causative agent directly, either in the lesion by microscopy or by staining and microscopy or by culture. Indirectly, the serum, the serology by various tests. So here in the laboratory diagnosis, a microscope is important, and detection of antigen or antibody is important, and DNA detection by PCR system, and direct evidence by isolation of the virus. In the microscopy, we will see junk smear. It is not T-junk. We call junk smear. What is junk smear? We will see later. That we will obtain a smear from the lesions. We will stain and see the arrangements, that is called junk smear. And DNA, by showing the DNA of herpes virus by PCR, polymerase chain reaction. Virus isolation by direct method using chorioallantoic membrane, or human fibroblastic cells, or HEP2 cells, or Vero cells. Intubation, you will see on inoculation on these viral cells, the differences in the cells seen as discrete focal degeneration. Discrete focal degeneration you will see on the cell lines. Saying indirectly, herpes virus is there in the isolate. The cytopathic effect in the cell lines are a ballooning of the cells and syncytium formation. So ballooning of the cells means the cells will become very big. Later, they will lose the cell lines and match from cell to cell. That is called syncytium formation. This is junk smear. You will stain by toluidine glue from the smear obtained from the lesions. You will see multinucleated giant cells. These are all multinucleated giant cells. This is one cell with so many nuclei. And the chromatin is stained by toluidine blue as blue color. And you will see Cowdery type A inclusion bodies when stained with Giemsa stain. Here you will not find any inclusion bodies. If the same is stained with Giemsa, you will see Cowdery type A inclusion bodies. These are the multinucleated giant cells enlarged. Now on the chorioallantoic membrane, you will see small pokes. These white spots are group of viruses grown on CIM. They are called as pokes, P-O-C-K-S. This is smallpox. This is herpes. Herpes is bigger, smallpox is smaller. Treatment of herpes simplex virus type 1 or type 2 is by hydroxyuridine, acyclovir, vidarabine, valcyclovir, famciclovir, and foscarnet. All these 6 drugs are available in the market, and as antiviral drugs you will see many number for herpes simplex virus infection as well as HIV infection. Other viruses, very few, but you will find more antiviral drugs, whereas in the future, when you come to the treatment of human immunodeficiency virus, you will also find so many antiviral drugs. Herpes virus simiae or B virus. Healthy monkeys carry this virus in saliva and in tissues, and the bite of such monkeys, when they are handling by the people in the animal houses, generally these monkey handling people are present in the areas where there is a preparation of poliovirus by the monkey kidney cells. So to prepare the monkey kidney cells, they will catch the monkeys from the animal house. During that, they happen to bite that individual. If the virus is present, this herpes virus simiae or B virus is present, it will cause a fatal ascending myelitis like Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome is a ascending myelitis, but it is not fatal always. But herpes virus simiae B virus ascending myelitis is highly fatal. Now this herpes virus simiae B virus is renamed as Cercospicin herpes virus 1. The recent name is Cercospicin herpes virus 1. Now, varicella zoster virus. Varicella zoster virus, or otherwise called human herpes virus type 2 or HHV3, because human herpes type 1 is herpes simplex type 1. Human herpes type 2 is herpes simplex type 2. Now the third one is human herpes virus type 3 or HHV3, is otherwise called varicella zoster virus. So here there are two entities. Varicella is one entity, zoster is one entity. Now von Bocquet in 1889 had suggested that varicella, that is causing chickenpox, and herpes zoster, that is causing zoster, are different manifestations of the same virus. Varicella virus will cause chickenpox. What is chickenpox? We will learn after some time. And herpes zoster will cause zoster. We will see what is zoster after some time. But these two are different clinical entities. These are different clinical entities, but this is caused by the same virus. If somebody asks, either in the orals or as MCQ, varicella zoster are different viruses or same virus, so you have to say varicella zoster or VZV is a single virus causing different clinical entities. Here itself I will tell the clarity. Varicella zoster will cause infection in the childhood, leading to chickenpox, and those herpes viruses will present latently in the trigeminal nerve ganglia or dorsal nerve ganglia, and if they become adults at 20 or after 20 years, suddenly something, different atmosphere or immunodeficiency occurs. This varicella virus, which is present hiddenly in the latent form in the body, will come out to the nerve linings on the skin, causing the infection, that is herpes zoster. So here chickenpox childhood lo vastundi, herpes zoster adulthood lo vastundi. ఎవరికి వస్తుంది? ఎవరికి చికెన్ పాక్స్ ఉందో వాళ్ళకి అడల్ట్హుడ్ లో హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ వస్తుంది. సపోజ్ మీకు చిన్నప్పుడే చికెన్ పాక్స్ రాలేదనుకోండి, అంటే అర్థం ఏంటి? మీరు అడల్ట్స్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు మీకు హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ రాదు. సో అడల్ట్స్ లో హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ లాగా వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, అది హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ కాదు. దట్ మే బి ఏ డిఫరెంట్ ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ చికెన్ పాక్స్. చికెన్ పాక్స్ వచ్చిన వాళ్ళకి మాత్రమే అడల్ట్ స్టేజ్ లో హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ వస్తుంది. ఇది మీరు గుర్తుంచుకోవాలి. వేరిసెల్లా జోస్టర్, హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ రెండు వైరస్లు కావు. అది ఒకటే వైరస్ రెండు డిసీజులు కలుగు చేస్తుంది. Now, chicken pox follows primary infection in a non-immune individual, while herpes zoster is a reactivation of the latent virus when the immunity has fallen to low levels due to any reason, because of the fever or sickness or exposed to high cold. The herpes zoster will seen on the adults, which is having the chicken pox infection in the childhood. Contact with either zoster or chicken pox may lead only chicken pox but not zoster. Adi you must remember. Ee line జ్ఞాపకం ఉంచుకోవాలి. Contact with either zoster or chicken pox may lead only chicken pox but not zoster. What is chicken pox? Mildest and most common of childhood infections. మీకు తెలుసో తెలీదో మీ పేరెంట్స్ అడగండి, చికెన్ పాక్స్ వచ్చిందా మాకు అని. వచ్చి తీరుతుంది. ఇట్స్ అ కామన్ ఇన్ఫెక్షన్. చిన్న అమ్మవారు అంటాం. ఈ చికెన్ పాక్స్ ని మనం చిన్న అమ్మవారు అంటాం. పెద్ద అమ్మవారు ఎవరు? స్మాల్ పాక్స్. Source of infection is a chicken pox or herpes zoster patient. మీకు ముందే చెప్పాను, చికెన్ పాక్స్ నుంచి చికెన్ పాక్స్ వస్తుంది. హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ నుంచి మళ్ళా చికెన్ పాక్స్ వస్తుంది తప్ప హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ రాదు. ఈ చికెన్ పాక్స్ పేషెంట్ కే హెర్పిస్ జోస్టర్ అడల్ట్హుడ్ లో వస్తుంది. Portal of entry is by respiratory or conjunctival route. Incubation period is 7 to 23 days. The lesions of the rash begins with various stages: macule, papule, vesicle, pustule, and scab or crest. Already we discussed in smallpox, and I told how to differentiate smallpox from chickenpox, and I told you there is a $1 million prize from WHO if you show a case of smallpox now. You should not confuse with chickenpox saying as smallpox. We will discuss again when the time comes how to differentiate chickenpox and smallpox basing on the macule, papule, vesicle, pustule, and scab or the crest. Rash is centripetal in distribution, affecting mainly trunk and sparing distal parts of the limbs, whereas the smallpox rash is centrifugal, where affecting mainly the trunk, the face, and the extremities, that is the limbs. The most important thing is all stages of the rash will be seen at a time. We will discuss later what is the meaning of that. All stages of the rash will be seen at a time. చికెన్ పాక్స్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఆ చికెన్ పాక్స్ పేషెంట్ ని ఫస్ట్ డే చూసిన, థర్డ్ డే చూసిన, సెవెంత్ డే చూసిన, 14th day చూసిన, you will see all types of the rashes: macule, papule, vesicle, pustule, and scab or crest. Whereas in smallpox you will not see like that. 3 days ఒకటి, 3 days ఒకటి, 2 days ఒకటి, 5 days ఒకటి, ఇలా మీకు కనిపిస్తుంది. 7th day వెళ్ళారనుకోండి, మీకు మెయిన్ గా పస్ట్యూల్సే కనిపిస్తాయి. మీకు తక్కినవి ఏవి కూడా మాక్యూల్ కనిపించదు, పాప్యూల్ కనిపించదు, వెసికల్ కనిపించదు. The complications may be pneumonia, myocarditis, nephritis, meningoencephalitis, cerebellar ataxia, and secondary bacterial infection. This is macule, we already discussed you. This is papule. This is vesicle. This is pustule. This is scab or crust. And this is a patient of chickenpox. On the 7th day, you will see a macule, a papule, a vesicle, a pustule, and formation of crust. Formation of crust. Whereas if it is smallpox, you will see each item at each time. You can see all forms in the chickenpox. All forms in the chickenpox. All forms in the chickenpox. Early stages, later stages, you can see a macule, papule, pustule, a vesicle, and a crab or crust forming. The herpes zoster, meaning head pin creep like పాములాగా spread అవుతుంటుంది. Zoster garidil, general గా ఇది limbs మీద ఉంటుంది. Sometimes, but it will be from the thorax, starting from the thorax or starting from the abdomen or starting from the face. This occurs in persons who had chickenpox several years earlier. I told you, if you get chickenpox in the childhood, in the adult stage, that same chickenpox virus will give you the clinical condition of herpes zoster. The virus remaining latent in sensory ganglia and leak out in times of reduced immunity and by some precipitating stimuli like heat or cold or lowered immunity, travel along the sensory nerve to produce zoster lesion on the area of the skin or mucosa supplied by it. The rash is typically unilateral and confined to the area supplied by a single sensory ganglia. The inflammation of the nerve leads to severe neuritic pain, sometimes intolerable, because ఇది ఎంత ఎక్కువ పెయిన్ కాజ్ చేస్తుంది అనుకుంటే అంటే పేషెంట్ will sometimes decide to get suicide. చచ్చిపోదాం అన్నంత పెయిన్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తుంది. Some people will jump from 5th floor or 6th floor of a building and they will die. And herpes zoster ophthalmia is a common and troublesome presentation leading to Ramsay Hunt syndrome and facial palsy. This is unilateral distribution. Herpes zoster is a unilateral distribution. You can see half of the upper side of the face. Half of the upper side of the face. That side you will not see. Only this part that is supplied by the ganglia will be shown on the nerve supplied to this skin area. You can see half part. This side it is normal. Half part. Half part. Only half part. Only half part. Only half part. What is Ramsay Hunt syndrome? Is sometimes a short note, otherwise called RHS. Is also known as herpes zoster oticus. Is a disorder that is caused by the reactivation of pre-existing herpes zoster virus in a nerve cell bundle in the head, that is geniculate ganglia. The neurons in this ganglia are responsible for the movements of the facial muscles, the touch sensation of a part of ear and ear canal, and the taste function of the frontal two-thirds of the tongue is lost. The moisturization of the eyes and the mouth will be lost. The syndrome specifically refers to the combination of this entity with weakness of the muscles activated by the facial nerve. In isolation, the latter entity would be called as Bell's palsy. Only weakness of the facial muscles పక్క జరిగాయి అనుకోండి, that is called Bell's palsy. ఇవన్నీ ఉన్నాయి అనుకోండి, that is Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. Ramsay-Hunt syndrome affecting the ear, facial palsy. You can see one side the face muscles were dragged. You can see the Bell's palsy, one side the facial muscles was dragged. Laboratory diagnosis by direct microscopy showing multinucleated giant cells, type A intranuclear inclusion bodies, Cowdry type A intranuclear inclusion bodies, herpes virus particles you will see by electron microscopy, and you will also show fluorescent antibody technique antibodies. You can also isolate these herpes viruses by human fibroblast cells, human amniotic cells, HeLa cells, or Vero cells. The cytopathic effect is focal, refractile, ballooned cells. Prophylaxis, we have varicella zoster virus immunoglobulin for passive protection or passive immunization. Live attenuated varicella vaccine is present, that is called Waka strain. Single dose by subcutaneous route is given for 1 to 12 years of old. 2 doses by subcutaneous route. Adults 6 to 10, 7 weeks apart. Protection lasts for several years. Now we will continue Epstein-Barr virus or human herpes virus type 4 or HHV type 4 in the next class, that is tomorrow at 12:20. That is the last class of DNA viruses. You have any doubts in the present herpes virus lecture? Hope you are preparing yourself for the second internal assessment, maybe from the next week. So no doubts means we will end this lecture.